So this week's article is really cool. I really enjoyed the article about Sorry to Bother You and the idea of kind of the power of parole. It says of code switching. I really liked how McWilliams, the author of the article, really gave this personal side of the story and how it talks about Sorry to Bother You, what it's about, why it's so great, and how it connects, because we see how in our daily lives, especially in the authors, how he would see his dad going to the barbershop and get so loose and relaxed. And I can relate to that as, the idea that when you go to the barbershop, you're more comfortable because you're in an environment where everybody accepts you as who you are. You don't have to talk a certain way to appeal to a certain type of people. And I really liked, because I really could connect to the idea of going to this barbershop and seeing my dad when I was younger, going in there and just relaxing and leaving and coming back with food and just sitting down in somebody's seat and just eating food and talking to everybody. And it's really cool because the movie really almost exaggerates, but it's not an exaggeration because we realize how much we have to do it today to be successful. It seems we have to do this to be successful, even though I feel like there are ways where we don't have to do it. I really like how it talked about how we should be teaching Black children to be comfortable in how they talk, and they don't have to code switch, and to love their most natural forms of expression, and to not kind of think code switching is necessary, and really, other than, like I said, rather than criticizing code switching, we should criticize the conditions under which it occurs, which is very true, because we're doing it to make sure we can be successful in a certain society, but we really need to understand that we don't have to do it, I think, and that we can be successful without it. And the question I got from that is, while we're doing this, do white people code switch? Is that a thing? Is this some type of form where white people kind of code switch? And then the other reading, that was also very interesting, and they had a whole study on code switching, what I thought was very cool. And this reading was on attitudes toward Black English and code switching. And the author, Russell Coates, really goes into this detailed idea of what Black English is, and the idea that to researchers recently, it's been so fascinating, and in the late 90s or late 20th century, they really start to do more research, and then we're still doing, research today on the idea of what this kind of code switching is, and this Black English, and how it's really not slang, but simply how people talk. I feel like that's really always important to understand, that we're not talking in slang, but simply just how we talk. And the research was very interesting when they did the getting 105 people to do this research, and getting a bunch of men and women, to get the exact number, I believe it was 102 people, and getting them to hear different types of speaking normally to Black people, and the code switching when it comes to talk to your friend and having an interview. I think it's really interesting to see the parallels, and how it's just so crazy, the different ways that Black people talk, and just the research that comes behind it, because it's actually very heavy, and some people don't even see it as code switching, and some people don't see code switching as a thing. Some people just talk a certain way, and both of these articles really convey that well. And then from this, I get this idea, and then it cites the this table that it cites, where it's talking about the means and standard deviations of men and women when it comes to Black English and standard English, and all these different factors that come into it, and things like that. And another source would be from the other reading, when it sources the movie and talks about how the guy in the movie tells him, if you want to be successful at this job, you got to use your white voice, and then he uses his white voice, and it's crazy how that's an idea we have to think to be successful. And then another question I had was, can Black people not code switch and be okay and accepted and successful in white America when you're taking the normal routes to be successful?